So Leaf Forest is the first level that you play in this game, and it's just a standardized first level, so there isn't really that much to say here. People say that this level is just mostly running forward, and I mean, I can agree with that, but most first levels in Sonic games just aren't really that interesting. I mean, there are some that are pretty interesting and really cool, but most of them just involve you just running straight, so I mean, I can't really blame that this level is just running forward most of the time. And there's just shields, and it introduces you to the boost mode and grind rails, and the special rings are gonna be hidden through every stage in the game. And yeah, we'll talk about those later, but I mean, it's just a normal first level. There isn't really that much to say here. And we'll also talk about grind rails later, but now we're actually going to talk about the boss fight at the end of the zone, because there's boss fights throughout every zone. And we're going to talk about this boss right here, and this boss is actually just like a hammer boss, which has you like running at the boss, and this boss isn't really that special. You just hit it, or you can just roll into it. And you can actually see that someone is actually captured, and then once you defeat the boss, the person disappears, and then guess what? They randomly come out the sky, and then you actually rescue them, and that person's name is Cream, which is a new character to the Sonic series, and I'm surprised she was introduced in a GBA game, so that's pretty surprising. And, well, this game actually has cutscenes now, so that's pretty cool that this game's like a big step up in presentation from Sonic Advance 1. And for a second, let's just talk about how this game looks, because this game looks amazing, way better, and there's a lot more unique zones and more interesting like level layouts, and it just looks really dang good. And the last game looked good as well, so this is just really good in general. So the second zone is Hot Crater, and this zone actually looks pretty dang good, and yeah, I know this game looks good in general, but it just feels like a wavy like effect in the stage in the background, which I can't get over about, but it looks good. And there's these like hoop things where like you go through them, you can actually just like fly through them, and also this is also a thing in the 3D games, so it's pretty cool to put them in the 2D games also. And this game does have dash pads too, but they aren't really that bad as Sonic Advance 1, because sometimes they just lead you to death in Sonic Advance 1. So, I mean, at least this game doesn't do that, because it's trying to go fast the whole time. And yeah, I think Hot Crater is a good zone in general. So, yeah. And then the boss here is basically like the first one, but you have to hit the cannon, and then you have to hit the, like, Eggman after you hit the cannon off, and it's a pretty short boss, but I don't really like this boss, because sometimes it just feels like too long, And it also starts shooting faster once you like hit it a lot more, and as you can see, there's no one to save here, so there's no cutscene at all. And also, once you first play this game, Sonic is the only character from the start, so it's not like Sonic Advance 1 where you can play whoever as you want from the start, which is really different. I mean, I don't really know if it's like a bad thing, but it's just different in general. So now for this music level, and this level is the best in the whole game. First of all, the level design in this whole stage is really dang good. And second of all, this stage just looks good in general. Like, this looks amazing. Like, why can't every level be like this? Because, once you get later to the game, the levels, start getting really dang bad, but we'll talk about those later. But it just feels like this level just has a lot more like obstacles that are really fun to go through, like these bouncing pianos things, the instruments, and like those flute things like fly you out. I mean, I thought those were a little annoying, but still, this whole level is just really dang good. Both acts are really good. The enemies just are like really unique to the certain levels, but that goes for all levels in this game. But I'm still gonna praise it for that because that's just really dang good. And I really, really like this level. And I just still can't get over how fun it was playing this level. But now we're gonna talk about the boss, and the boss for the zone is actually pretty good. And the bosses in this game aren't really that good in general, so that's actually a win. So yeah, this whole zone is a bunch of fun in general. So if you want to play this zone, play it. It's really fun, okay? And during this boss fight, you can see that Tails here was captured by Eggman, which doesn't really make sense because, well, I don't get why Eggman would need Tails, but maybe it's to help work his robots or something like that. But after you destroy Eggman's whatever that is, Tails comes out from the sky and, well, you save him. And then he's like, thanks, Sonic. And then Sonic is like, Eggman, what's he plotting this time? And then Tails was like, oh, Eggman came out of nowhere. So, yeah, another cutscene. And yeah, after this, you can also play as Tails. And don't worry, we're going to talk about the playable characters later. But now we're going to talk about Ice Paradise. So, in Music Plant, there was one bombless pit at the end of one of the acts. I forgot which act it was. But here, you can start seeing some bottomless pits start popping up. But that doesn't mean that this level is bad, because this level is pretty fun in my opinion. And I think that the ice gimmicks are pretty cool. I mean, maybe they're not like as fun as Music Plant, but they still get the job done, you know. But I'll just talk about grind rails, because this game uses a lot of grind rails throughout every single level. And it was really cool as a gimmick in Sonic Advance 1, but here you have to land on the top of a grind rail in order to get on, and it's so dumb. This especially gets annoying in the later levels since there's so many bombless pits everywhere, and plus, there are a bunch of do or die sections with this, so if you don't land on the top of a grind rail, you're screwed. And this starts as early as Ice Paradise, so that's why I'm explaining it here. And I feel like the bottomless pits, like I said before, or maybe I didn't, they start in this zone, basically. So, if you just go in the bottom, like, of the level a lot, then, yeah, you're not gonna have a good time. And even if you go on the top of the level, you're still not gonna have a good time either, because, like, the game just sends you in, like, death hazards all the time, and it's just so annoying. Like, I really didn't like this in Advance 1, and in this game, they made it 10 times worse here. Since they're going fast all the time, they just basically didn't even do level layouts at all, because you can see how far and, like, how forever it takes for you to get to the bottom of the level before you die. And then the boss here is really bad. Like, look at this. I mean, it may not look hard, but when momentum is like your biggest enemy right here, it's really annoying. I mean, this boss is about like a bunch of like rockets going down at you, and then you have to go on this platform to like hit Eggman, and that doesn't sound bad, but it is bad because like if you're playing as a bunch of other characters or something, if you use their flight or glide, it's gonna send them backwards. Like, why would they do that? I mean, it does make sense because, like, gravity and physics, obviously. But in general, it's just way worse. And I really don't like that. But you want to know something else I don't like? Sky Canyon. So, right off the bat, on the bottom of your screen, there's gonna be, like, clouds, so you would have less of a vision of what's coming. So that's already bad. And this level is like the worst level in the whole entire game. I mean, this level actually does look pretty good, but who cares about how the level works at this point? The only thing I care about in video games is the gameplay here. And the gameplay is not fun. Like, I really don't like how much death hazards and bombless pits and just like, look at this. You can't even see anything. Like, you don't even know where you're supposed to go. I mean, I played this level a lot of times, so it gets easier after all, but if you mess up at a certain part of this level, you're probably gonna go down all the way to a bottomless pit. And it takes forever to die once you fall. Like, it feels like the designers don't even know what to do at this point. They just throw death hazards at you as an obstacle. It's just so bad. Like, I really don't enjoy playing this if they just do that all the time. If you guys thought Angel Island Zone from Sonic Advance 1 was bad, you have never played this zone. And I bet that without using like a map on Google or like using like any like tips in this level, I bet you've at least died at least 2 times in this zone. Okay? Don't lie, okay? Do not lie. Do not lie, okay? We know on your first playthrough that you've at least died twice in this zone. 100%. We 100% know, because this is like crazy if in your first playthrough you've not died in this zone at least 2 times. And that's including the boss, which we're going to talk about right now. And the boss in this zone is probably the worst in this game. Like, I mean, look at this. Why? Why do all the bosses have to suck like this? I mean, first of all, there's this gun thing. If, like, it shoots at you, sometimes it can literally shoot you at blazing speeds that you can't even see, and you can barely even see in the first place. And plus, this hand right here, it can automatically kill you in 1 hit. Even if you had rings, it could still kill you in 1 hit. Like, what is this? Like, who? This is literally the same team that created Sonic Advance 1, so I don't know what went wrong. If you keep dying in this boss, then you should set this game to easy mode, which reduces the hits of every boss. And that's way better in my opinion, because, well, you wouldn't have to sit through all of this. And for the review, I have to do all these bosses originally. I can't do the easy mode, and I'm only doing it for you guys. But, actually, there's something different about this fight. Because in one of those, whatever it's called, you can actually see a familiar Sonic character. And, well, guess who it is? Yeah, it's obviously Knuckles. Like, obviously you got tricked again for like the 10th game or something. And it doesn't really make sense how Knuckles got tricked again, because this is like the 4th handheld game that he's been tricked. So yeah, that's weird, but I guess they're only doing it just for the plot or whatever. And I don't get why Knuckles has blue eyes, but who cares, okay? You get to play as Knuckles, so yeah. And we'll also talk about the playable characters later. Okay, so now for Technobase. And this level does have some of the same problems as Sky Canyon, but unlike that level, this level is actually better than that one. So that's somehow a coincidence, because this level is easier than that level, but who cares about Sky Canyon at this point, because nobody likes that level. But we're going to talk about the level design of this level, and then we'll talk about like how the level looks. And this level does not have that much of great level design, because there's still some bottomless pits everywhere, because Dimps really likes using them in their games. And to be honest, this level kind of looks like the final level, but it's not the final level. And I do think that's pretty dumb how you have to get the Chaos Emeralds as every single character, but in Advance 1, they were just tied to, like, any character you played as. Like, if you got a Chaos Emerald Sonic, oh, yeah, that's for everyone. But here you have to collect all of them as every single character, probably because they just want to pad out the game. And I just think that's really dumb. And don't even get me started of how you even get into the special stages. Because in every level, there's 7 special rings. And if you get them all in one level, you just get into the special stage. And yeah, that doesn't sound bad. But in a lot of these areas, since you have to get them as every single character, including Sonic, there's some places in the level you can't even go to because Sonic can't fly around as Tails and Cream. So that's just really bad. And I don't get why they have to make getting into the special stages bad in the first place. But Technic Base is a good looking level in my opinion, and I really like how like the level looks in general. And the boss here is actually perfectly fine. I mean, it's not really good, but it's not bad. It's just a normal boss in this game. And the boss here is just like a platforming boss where there's these platforms, and then you have to jump on them to hit Eggman. And I find that to be really cool. But then sometimes the spikes come out of the platforms, so you can't really jump on them. And the other 2 platforms spin around, so you can't jump on those either. So I think that this boss is pretty cool, but it's not like good. But I mean, it's a harmless boss. It's a perfectly fine boss. And here, there's this level here that I forgot the name of, but this is my second favorite zone in the game. I actually had a lot of fun with this level. The only reason why this level isn't like my number 1 favorite is because of the bottomless pits that ruin it. But other than that, I think that this level's really fun. But in my opinion, I don't think bottomless pits shouldn't be in like Sonic games in general. I'm just saying they get used way too much in this game. But in this zone, like there's like a bunch of sections. If you don't jump on those like moving platforms, then you just immediately die, and I think that's really annoying. But when you're like outside in space, it looks really cool because you can literally see the stars moving, and there's like those enemies from Sonic Adventure 1, which is a really cool reference. Or maybe it was Adventure 2, but I think it was Adventure 1. But that's not the point though. This level does have some obstacles that are really actually fun, and those rocket things, or whatever they're called, that like fling you, so you'd have to like react quickly, so then you could actually dodge a bunch of the obstacles. And there's like these platforming sections, and it's really cool. And this level isn't perfect, like I said before, but I do think it's my second favorite behind Music Plant, in my opinion. But I'm just gonna say that the rail grinding is a little like too much in this zone, because they use it a lot more in this level than I would like in general, because like the rail grinding is overused way too much in this game. Like every section is basically a rail grinding section, so you would have to keep like doing it over and over again. It just feels like it's just piled in this whole level, and I really don't like that. But now we're gonna talk about the thing in the zone that I actually think is a pretty cool and unique boss. I mean, all the other bosses are unique, but they just feel like annoying in general. And this boss can be a little annoying though, because momentum like brings you back, and if you don't like go like on the same side as Eggman is, he just shoots rockets at you repeatedly. But if you like go up, then you can go up and down with the gravity, and I think that's a really cool and unique gimmick that's I've never seen in a boss before. So good job to the devs for that. And I also want to not thank the devs for something else that they did at the end of the game. And that's a boss rush. Why? Why? Like, why? I mean, it was in Advance 1, but that was only like 2 bosses. And plus, they were from different Sonic games, which was Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. But here, there's literally all the bosses from this game all piled into one boss. And yeah, there are less hits in these ones than the actual bosses, but still, the bosses in this game weren't even fun to begin with. But the final boss here is actually the first boss in the game, which you don't have to just like run forward the whole time. And this boss is actually pretty good. I actually like the final boss of this game more than the actual bosses in the game. So that's weird, I guess, but I mean, I guess that's a win of the final boss actually being good. But back to negatives, because this game's all over the place. There's a supersonic final boss, which isn't bad, but still, you can't play a supersonic in the normal levels again. Why? Like, that would be such a cool reward for collecting them as every single character in the whole game. Like, that would have been really cool. But here you just get a supersonic final boss, which is basically like the first game. So that's just really annoying. But now we're going to talk about the characters. And the first out of all of them is Cream, which is the new Sonic character to this game. Cream can fly just like Tails, but it is shorter than Tails, so that doesn't make her automatically just better than Tails. And she also has cheese, which she can cheese the bosses. Man, that trick has been done so many times, but I just said it. But here, the bosses are a lot easier with Cream, since you can cheese the... Okay, I'll stop saying that. Since you can easily just win in the bosses, because the bosses aren't really that good in this game. So, yeah, Cream's actually one of my favorite characters to play as in this game, just because she makes the game a lot more easier and a lot more functional. And it does make sense since she was the first character to even be unlocked in this game. Well, besides Sonic. And Cream's air actions, of her, like, when she goes on a spring, she does actually a ground pound. And then when she goes forward, she, like, does a spin. And these, like, extra, like, moves are actually really useful in the levels, and they make it a lot more satisfying. But speaking of non-satisfying, we're going to talk about Amy, because she's basically like everyone else. Like, I mean, it wouldn't make sense to put Advance 1 Amy in these levels, because she's not standing a chance. But here, it just feels like, what's the point of unlocking all, like, the Chaos Emeralds for every character if she basically plays like everyone else? So, yeah, that just sucks. And then here, there's actually a multiplayer mode, and yeah, we'll get back to the characters later. But here, I'm actually going to talk about it is because here, you have to unlock all the characters throughout this. Like, in the beginning, you can only play as Sonic, so if you have 4 friends playing, you have to wait all the way to Technobase to play as all 4 at the same time. So I think that's really annoying, because now you can't unlock Knuckles unless you go to Sky Canyon and then unlock it. And plus, you can only play the bosses as Sonic, so that also sucks. But I mean, I guess that makes sense, because technically you're always running forward the whole time, so I don't really blame the game that much for that. But that is still a problem that I don't like. But here, there's actually, like, a level select, And these are actually pretty cool because you can just go to your favorite level whenever you want, or just like traverse through the game. Because Advance 1 didn't have anything like this, it just had a row of levels. But here you can actually see the world of the levels, and it's really cool. But now we're going to talk about the special stages. And to be honest, I really like these special stages. Like, these are amazing. Like, these are the best out of the Advance trilogy. Or, like, a lot of Sonic games in general. And I really just like these. And hear me out of the reasons why. So you're in, like, a 3D environment, and you can actually see a lot more than in Advance 1. But that's not the point here, because there's these rings scattered all over the place. And what makes these special stages really good is those like 2x things, which doubles the amount of rings you have if you collect a bunch of rings in a row. And I find this to be really dang cool, and I really just like the special stages in general. And yeah, Tails and Knuckles are also in this game, and we'll talk about Sonic last, but here, Tails is just Tails in general, because all the characters just basically play the same in terms of, like, if you're trying to speed run, because you just go fast the whole time in this game. But Knuckles and Sonic are the only ones that can just, like, do, like, a drill dive and a bounce, because they are the two strongest characters of this game, so it does make sense, because Knuckles does the drill dive and then Sonic does the bounce. And I do think this is really cool, but because Tails, Amy, and Cream are way weaker than them, so it does make sense. And you can do some pretty cool speedrunning tricks in this game, because you can look at how speedrunners go through this game. The reason why I saved Sonic for last was because he is buffed way more than he was in Advance 1, because he has a lot of new abilities. Because first of all, Sonic has the homing attack, and a lot of people say that it shouldn't be in like 2D Sonic games, but in my opinion, I think they should, but they just haven't been done right. And second, Sonic has the bounce, like I said earlier, and it doesn't really gain height for you, because these things work a lot differently. And the air dash was buffed like a lot more, so you get a lot more distance from it, so it's a lot more useful. And you know, there's these trick things if you go up a spring and stuff, and I find that to be really cool. So yeah, in general, I think the abilities are the best of the Advanced series. But I hope you have a good day. Please subscribe. I want to grow my channel. Bye.